Chapter 1. The Hook. 3 men. 1 table. Infinite power. Imagine a private room in a place without flags, without cameras, without a single witness. It is a space untouched by geography, unclaimed by any nation, unreachable by journalists or historians. A heavy oak table dominates the center, its surface polished to a mirror-like sheen, yet scarred with faint marks, as if it has heard centuries of secrets. No aides, no security guards, only 3 men who, in their own ways, have bent the arc of history to their will. On one side, Vladimir Putin. His posture is precise, his eyes sharp as a hawk's. This is a man who has played the long game for decades, who sees the world not in borders but in moves, each decision calculated, like a chess master who knows that hesitation is checkmate. There is no wasted motion in him. Every blink, every breath is a move in the match. On the other, Donald Trump, he leans back, almost lounging, a smirk curling at the corner of his mouth. To him, the world is not a chessboard at all, but a high-stakes poker table where swagger is as important as the cards you're dealt. And bluffing. Sometimes outrageous bluffing is half the victory. He thrives in chaos because chaos blurs the rules. And between them, a figure centuries out of place, Niccolò Machiavelli, dressed in dark Renaissance robes that seem to drink in the light. He watches with the measured curiosity of a scientist presented with 2 of the most fascinating specimens in political evil. His gaze is neither approving nor condemning, only evaluating, weighing, testing. The air is thick with something more than tension. It is the scent of ambition, the pulse of strategy, the quiet thrill of predators who recognize each other. These aren't just politicians. They are tacticians, performers, and hunters in their own arenas. Somewhere far beyond this room, billions of people go about their lives unaware that in this timeless chamber, 3 worlds of power have collided. What would they say to each other? What advice could pass between men who have each learned to bend truth, loyalty, and fear into tools? And perhaps more importantly, what warnings would they offer, knowing the dangers that come not from enemies, but from allies? Chapter 2. The setting, a room outside time. The room is lit by a single chandelier, its crystals trembling slightly as if they can sense the weight of what is being discussed or about to be. The golden light spills downward, casting long shadows over the men's faces, exaggerating their expressions, making each one look half-angled. The walls are lined with shelves of books in languages long dead, bound in leather that cracks like old skin. There is no agenda, no speeches waiting to be delivered, no press release waiting to be approved, only conversation. And in this place, words are sharper than any blade. Machiavelli reaches for the wine first, though not because he is thirsty. In politics, even the smallest gesture is calculated, and in this case, it is a silent claim to control the pace of the meeting. His fingers linger on the rim of the glass, as if marking territory. He speaks slowly, each word deliberate. Gentlemen, you both know the truth. I wrote 500 years ago. The question is, have you mastered it? Putin leans forward, his voice low, almost intimate. Truth. Truth is a weapon. You sharpen it when you need it. You hide it when it's dangerous. And sometimes you bury it so deep, no one remembers it existed. His eyes don't blink as he speaks, and for a moment the room feels colder. Trump laughs, a short, amused burst. Or you just make your own truth. Works every time. If they believe it, it's true. If they don't believe it, make them believe it anyway. People don't fact-check feelings. Machiavelli's lips curl into a faint smile, though his eyes remain as still as a mask. We may not need the wine after all. This will be interesting. I see the centuries have not dulled the game, only changed the board. A silence falls. Not awkward, but anticipatory. Outside this room, time moves forward. Inside, it circles like a predator waiting for its moment to strike. Chapter 3, Machiavelli's Philosophy, the Blueprint of Power. When Niccolò Machiavelli put pen to paper in The Prince, he wasn't offering a sermon on morality, nor was he trying to teach leaders how to be loved in the eyes of their people. He was crafting a survival manual, a brutally honest guide to navigating a world where loyalty is fleeting. Threats are constant, and morality is often a luxury rulers cannot afford. To Machiavelli, politics was never about building a utopia or chasing ideals that crumble under the weight of reality. It was about results, It was about staying in power when the winds of fortune shifted. In his view, a ruler who clung too tightly to virtue in a corrupt world was like a sailor refusing to adjust his sails in a storm, noble perhaps, but destined to be swallowed by the waves. He famously declared that a ruler must master the dual nature of the lion and the fox. The lion, with its raw power, inspires fear and commands respect. The fox, with its cunning, avoids snares and sees danger before it strikes. Together, they form the complete strategist, strength tempered by intelligence, ferocity balanced by subtlety. If Machiavelli were sitting at our imaginary table, studying Vladimir Putin, he would see a leader who wears the lioness Imani with ease, a figure who moves deliberately, strikes with precision, and radiates a quiet but unmistakable authority. Yet beneath that lion's exterior lies the watchful mind of a fox, skilled in deception, adept at masking intentions, and patient enough to wait years before making his decisive move. Turning his gaze to Donald Trump, Machiavelli would recognize a very different breed of fox. This one doesn't skulk in the shadows. Instead, he prowls in the open, loud and unapologetic. His noise is his camouflage, drowning out rival voices, overwhelming critics with sheer volume and controlling the narrative simply by dominating the conversation. Machiavelli might lean back, steeple his fingers, and pose a question to both. In a world where power is broadcast in real time, where every move is dissected, live streamed, and memmed into eternity, how does a leader evolve his tactics to survive not just the battlefield, but the spectacle? Chapter 4. Putin, the Chess Master. Vladimir Putin's career has been a masterclass in the long game. Like a seasoned chess grandmaster, he is content to sit in silence, letting the clock tick, waiting for the exact moment when a single move will change the entire board. He is the man who doesn't flinch under pressure, who understands that in the modern geopolitical arena, perception often rivals military might. Machiavelli would admire his use of measured fear, not chaos, which breeds uncontrollable revolt, but a calculated tension enough to discourage dissent without igniting rebellion. His grip over the media is not merely censorship. It is narrative engineering. By shaping the stories people hear, he shapes the way they think. Renaissance princes once controlled rumor and gossip through whispered networks and state-sanctioned proclamations. Putin does the same on a grander scale, with television cameras and digital propaganda. Machiavelli might lean toward him and say, "You guard your fortress well, the walls are high, the gates secure, but do you command the hearts of your subjects?" Putin, unshaken, would answer, "Hearts, they are unpredictable, treacherous. Fear is the one currency that never devalues." And Machiavelli, recognizing a kindred strategist, would give a slow, approving nod. Yes, a true prince. Chapter 5. Trump, the Showman Strategist. Donald Trump's battlefield is not a hidden council chamber or a war map spread across a table. His arena is the stage, the rally platform, the debate podium, the television camera. His power does not come from silence, as with Putin, but from relentless visibility. Where Putin thrives in shadows, Trump thrives in spotlights. Every microphone becomes a weapon, every headline a shield. He does not simply participate in the political conversation, he hijacks it, shaping the entire news cycle around his words and actions. Machiavelli would watch with a mixture of intrigue and amusement. He would note that Trump's unpredictability is not a flaw, but a deliberate tactic. By keeping his opponents perpetually off balance, Trump ensures they are always reacting to him rather than executing their own plans. It is the political equivalent of a street fight, where feints and distractions matter as much as the actual blows. Trump might lean toward Machiavelli with a confident smirk and say, "I don't just play the game, I am the game. If they're busy watching me, they can't make their move." To which Machiavelli, recalling the theatrical spectacles of his own day, the pageantry, the public performances meant to sway the masses, would respond, "In my time, we called it spectacle. In yours, it is simply media." But perhaps privately, he would marvel at how Trump has turned the tools of the modern age, television, social platforms, the insatiable hunger for constant news, into a throne of his own making. For Machiavelli, this would be proof that while the tools of power change, the principles remain eternal. Chapter 6. The Hypothetical Conversation, Clash, and Convergence. The air in the room thickens, The candles on the heavy oak table flickered, shadows dancing like silent spectators to this rare meeting. The wine in their glasses is nearly untouched now, but not because they've lost their thirst, rather because the conversation itself has become more intoxicating than the finest vintage. Machiavelli leans forward, his fingers steep, eyes glinting with the curiosity of a man who has dissected the anatomy of power for a lifetime. He speaks first, his tone calm but probing. So tell me, how do you both deal with enemies? Putin doesn't hesitate. His voice is low, deliberate, as if each word is a calculated move on a chessboard only he can see. Remove them before they become dangerous. The statement hangs in the air like a blade suspended above the table, cold, sharp, final. Trump smiles, almost amused by the severity. He leans back in his chair, the posture of a man who prefers spectacle over shadows, or keep them close. Sometimes enemies sell more tickets than friends. Machiavelli tilts his head, weighing the two answers. He knows that both approaches work and both can fail, depending on timing, execution, and the leader's own persona. He changes the question. And loyalty, how do you inspire it? Putin's reply is swift, almost mechanical, by showing strength, never weakness. People respect power, not pleading. Trump, on the other hand, spreads his hands as if revealing a magician's trick, by making them feel like they're part of the winning team. Nobody leaves a winner. The difference in their strategies is stark, one rooted in fear, the other in belonging. Yet Machiavelli senses the same heartbeat behind them. The methods differ, but the pulse is identical. Control. As they speak, he recalls the lines he once wrote by candlelight in Renaissance Florence, words that still carry the weight of truth across centuries. Power doesn't survive on morality alone. It survives on the ability to bend reality, control perception, and act without hesitation when the moment comes. And in this quiet room without witnesses, he realizes these two modern players, for all their contrasts, are merely different verses of the same ancient song. Chapter 7, the closing reflection, what this tells us. If these three men ever truly sat at the same table, they wouldn't waste breath on polite formalities or ceremonial handshakes. There would be no scripted smiles for the cameras, no meaningless speeches about unity or diplomacy. Instead, they would trade strategies the way battle-hardened generals trade maps before launching a campaign. They would dissect the psychology of influence, debating whether it is better to inspire or to intimidate, to be feared or to be loved, to strike like a lion or to slither like a fox. They might compare the benefits of playing chess, where every move is calculated, versus playing poker, where deception and reading the opponent's tells are just as important as the cards in your hand. And eventually, they would arrive at the one point where there could be no disagreement. Power is never given, it is taken. Machiavelli, rising from his chair, might glance at them both before delivering one last reminder. The rules of power have not changed. Only the stage has. The men would leave separately, each returning to his own arena, one to the Kremlin, one to the media spotlight, one to the pages of history, but their shared understanding would linger like the aftertaste of strong wine. And as the room empties, the silence that follows is not peaceful. It's heavy with a realization we'd rather not confront. The tactics of Renaissance princes have not died. They live on in the corridors of our governments, in the boardrooms of our corporations, in the algorithms that shape our perception. The costumes have changed. Yes, suits instead of robes, microphones instead of royal decrees, and the weapons have evolved from swords to satellites, from whispered plots to data manipulation. But the essence remains unchanged. Power still rewards the cunning, the patient, and the ruthless. It still belongs to those who dare to take it when others hesitate. And as history shows us, the stage may change, but the actors in spirit are always the same.